Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision. Again, a reminder to everyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're at 146 subs. Once we get to 150, we'll be doing a giveaway. So for anybody who wants to be able to get like a free hat, we're going to do a hat, um, a shirt, and we're going to do a rifle ammo box. So when we select you, uh, yeah, you get to pick which color hat, which color shirt. I'll give you the options, and then the same thing with the style of ammo box that you want. So that's that. That's the giveaway. We need to get to 150 subs. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that. But for tonight's topic, I want to give a revisit because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he has a couple 6.8 westerns, and we were trying to go back and forth. And so I was going to give him, and he had some questions because he's never had a 270, but he knows plenty of people who have. So I was going to give him some ideas of what you can get if you really push the rifles and how they would work for, let's say, medium game. So I'm going heavy for caliber, relatively speaking, heavy for caliber. So 6.8 Western and my 27 ibex, those are going to be shooting the 165 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. And for the 270, it's a 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. I have experience with the 150s. They've done great for me, so I can't complain at all. I went through GRT and I pushed the pressures and everything else too. And again, mind you, this is just a guideline. It's not going to be exact, so don't take it as gospel. It's not that. But I'm going to show these, and I'm going to enter them into the Federal Ballistics app, and then we can kind of get a comparison of what to expect out to reasonable ranges. When I say reasonable ranges, we're talking about for target, target application, but also even hunting. If you're a really good shot, you can push these cartridges a little further than most people can, especially for the Western hunters. The guys, no matter where you live in the U.S., if you're a Western hunter, by that I mean you're getting set up and you're taking some longer range shots, and that can apply for anywhere in the hunt. If you're doing backcountry hunting, some of these shots can be easily 600, 700 yards. So that's not uncommon. What are these cartridges comparable to? What can they do? Are they viable? What's the realistic expectation out of it? Now, yes, you can go heavier. There are the 175 grain Sierra game changers, but the 165 is a good BC bullet. It's a good construction bullet. It gets you a good happy medium of good weight plus good velocity. So that's kind of the reason why I'm going with it. Now, I know you can get a little bit faster out of this, but this is just the information I have. So, again, don't take it as gospel. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what we're talking about. So, at the top you have, I forget to highlight that, not so much highlight, but just underline. There we go. So, starting at the top, you have the 6.8 Western. And we're using the N565. It seems to be the good happy medium of good load, but also just in general, good load fill, good burn rate, and you don't need an ultra long barrel. Again, we're going to keep it all the same. 24-inch barrel is pretty common, and we were pushing them all to 65,000 psi. So with that, 67.1 grains of the N565 with that 165 grain Nosler AccuBond long range, you're looking at just over 3,000 feet per second and 32 foot-pounds. So if I take that and I go into, here we go. Let me pull this back up. Try refresh. Oh, is it not going to cooperate now? Available, connect. Connect. Let's see here. Do this real quick. I thought I had this. set up. Should here. There we go. All right, that's better. Got it hooked up. So here we go. As you guys know, I really like this ballistics app. Is it the best in the world? I don't know, but it served me well, and I've gotten some pretty accurate information. So we're gonna go with that. So we're gonna stick with right now. The load style is gonna be hand load. Bullet weight, we're gonna go 165. Muzzle velocity of 3016. G1BC of 0.620 for the 165s. I like keeping everything as the same. Zeroing range, I like the 0 for 200. I found that it's nice for being able to shoot out to 250 yards pretty comfortably across the board. Wind speed, I'm going to stick with 10. Increments, we're going to do 100 yard. Oh, nope, not 1,000 yards. Increments, 100 yards. Altitude around me is about 5,000, and that's a good happy medium, because if you can go a little higher than that, you're still going to be close in your trajectory. If you're a little lower than that, you're still going to be fairly close in your trajectory. Max range for the 6.8 Western, we're going to take this out to 600. And we're going to do the same thing with all of these. We're just going to go 600 across the board. So, what are we looking at? What are we expecting? Well, here's pretty good with that BC. There you go. We're getting 3016 feet per second. Yes, I know for a fact you can get faster, so don't take this as in this is absolute. But at 200 yards, you're still maintaining 2762 feet per second. That's pretty good. And almost 2,800 foot-pounds. That's still quite a bit. At 400 yards, you're only looking at 16.3 inches of drop. Not much at all. And even with a 10-mile-an-hour cross breeze, crosswind, you're only looking at 6.6 inches of drift. Not much at all. Still over 2,500 feet per second and over 2,300 foot-pounds. So you're still got quite a bit. And take it out to 600, 54.4 inches of drop, 15.5 inches of drift. So not terrible. That can be dialed pretty easy. For those you guys want to hold off, that you'd be holding off the animal by quite a bit if you use those numbers. You're still just under 2,300 feet per second. That's quite well. And over 1,900 foot-pounds. So this is still ethical on elk at that range without even trying. So that's an excellent trajectory. And then if we take that and we'll just adjust a little bit here, the velocity down to the 27 ibex, again mine, 2952. So it's not much slower than the 6.8 Western. So here we go. At 200 yards, you're only talking about 1.7 inches of drifts instead of 1.6. So you're right there. Still over 2,700 feet per second, 2,673 foot-pounds. So you got still quite a bit here. But it will drop this all the way down to the 600-yard mark. Instead of the 54.4, you're looking at 57.2. So you're talking about a 3-inch difference. I mean, it's not really all that much. There's a little bit, but it's an easy adjustment. That's still within the kill zone. Instead of 15.5 inches of drift, you got 16. So you're only talking about a half inch of drift. That's not enough to matter. And you're still maintaining over 2,200 feet per second. So 2,239 instead of just on. So you're a little slower, but not by a whole lot. And you're still over 1,800 foot-pounds. So if you're sticking with the old school idea of wanting a minimum of 1,500 foot-pounds when you hit elk, you still have that. That's excellent, which means you could probably push this out to even 700 or even 800 yards. Would I go past it? No, in general, I don't care what cartridge I'm using. I still wouldn't feel comfortable with it, but that's just me. For those who are probably much better shots than myself, yeah, you could take this cartridge very easily and feel comfortable with it at range. And so that brings us to our last one here, 270 Winchester. I'm using Ramshot Hunter, 59 grains of it with a 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range, and you're pushing it just over 3,000 feet per second. So 150 grain. There we go. Focus. 3007. Nope, not 3307. That's a little fast. BC of 591. And everything else stays the same. Enter. So here we go. So this is an excellent cartridge. Now, is it going to have as much energy downrange? No. As a matter of fact, you can see the difference. It's still a very flat trajectory, and that's because it has speed. This is where I think the happy balance is. Because if you were to take, and you have to have a good BC, yes. But you also don't want to sacrifice velocity. You know, you can push past a lot of things if you have the appropriate velocity. There's a good balance between BC and velocity and weight. So, because if you look at the numbers for 600 yards, 55.6 inches of drop as opposed to the 57.7 inches of drop with the 165. You're talking, another half-inch difference in your drift. That's not much because from the 6.8 Western with the 165, you're talking about 15.5 inches. So you're talking about within an inch of drift. That's not enough to matter. 2253 feet per second. So this is sticking within that excellent range. And 1690. You still have adequate, energy and velocity for good expansion with these bullets at 600 yards. Yes, the 270 Winchester with the right load and the right bullet, in this case the 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range, has the guts to be an ethical elk cartridge out to 600 yards. Now, is it going to be the same as throwing out a 300 Win Mag or 340 Weatherby or anything like that? Obviously not. We're not making that kind of comparison. That's just a totally different. That's a massive difference in your hole. But you can't deny those numbers. Now, are they going to be exact? I'm not saying that they are. But even if I was off by, let's say, 50 feet per second, okay? Let's say that's 50 feet per second faster than what it would do. So let's say it stays within, let's say it goes down to within 2175. Well, that's still going to allow you to be right in the 1,500 foot-pound mark at 600 yards. So it gives you ethical capabilities of the 270 Winchester out to 600 yards, no matter how you look at this. That's excellent. Now, I'm going to play with one more number here. And I didn't really prep it this way. But we're going to swap this out real quick. And I'm going to go to my cartridge, the 27 ibex. And we're going to stick with that 150 grain in a 24-inch barrel. And we're going to, let's see, what does it allow me to do? So because of the seating and the type, we'll stick with that. It gives me a little bit more capacity that I can do. So I'm sticking with the Ramshot Hunter. We're going to push this up a little bit and see what I'm able to do. A little fast. All right. So maybe not the right powder for this setup. Let's go to 61. So it's saying 3050, but I don't think that's the right powder selection. So let's try one other. It's a little bit. Let's try the Vitavori N555. That's not it either. All right. Actually, let's go with the N5 565. That might be the optimal. It's getting there. 66. Yes, it is. It's getting optimal. All right, hold on. One more adjustment here. Nope, a little much. Okay, so we're going to back it off to 66.2. So check this out. Vitavori N565 150 grain bullet. Okay? See it out a little further. Almost 3,100 feet per second. So it's actually considerably faster. Now, it's not a bad load ratio. Little over, but not by a whole lot. And it's got a 99.1% burn propellant. That's not bad. If we were to change it out to a 26-inch barrel, let's see what that does. There you go. Now you're getting full burn. So the 26-inch barrel, look at that. 3150 with a 27 ibex. Now let's see what that does for our trajectories. Okay. So we're going to swap this out and we're going to call this the 3150. The 26-inch barrel. Yeah, I get it. It's a little crazy. But there's no denying this. At 200 yards, only a 1.5-inch drift. Has the flattest trajectory. This is where I talk about it. This is where the balance comes in. Balancing your BCs with your velocities. Look at this. Only 50 inches of drop. So it's the flattest trajectory of them all. The least amount of drift at 15.3. You got 2373 feet per second. So you're talking almost 2,400 and 1875 foot-pounds. That's phenomenal. So let's bump this out a little bit, and we're going to try out to 800 yards and see what this looks like. Just because I'm curious now. Look at that. If you're looking at the velocities, and here's the thing, I like to also stick with the minimum of about 2,000 feet per second for proper expansion. The Nosler AccuBonds and the AccuBond Long Range recommend a minimum of 1,800 feet per second to have adequate expansion. At 800 yards, and I know that's a ton of drop, I get it. But the thing is, you'd have a lot of drop regardless of the cartridge you're using and the type of bullet. That's a lot of drift too. But look at that. Just for your velocities and your energies, with this load, you're still ethical on elk out to 800 yards. Now, yes, you're going to want to take your time and practice because that's a long-range shot. But there you go. You can easily, with a 150 grain bullet, have everything you need to be ethical on deer, elk, and moose. Heck, I'll throw in, if you're overseas, you're going to look at fallow and axis and sandbar and Javan rusa and all these other animals. Or if you're in Africa, you're looking at, wildebeest, eland, kudu. These are very tough animals. So yes, this has the potential to be in there with everything else. So yeah, there's a reason why I'm working on the cartridge that I am. It's because it has the potential and it has the numbers behind it. I am going to be doing some load testing, so there's going to be more. I'm still waiting on the new tooling. It's almost done and almost ready to be shipped in, but This is what I'm looking to do. Really develop something new that has really good potential here. This is what I've been working for, to bring a new 27 caliber that's going to be more affordable. So yeah, I'm going to say this. For anybody who doesn't necessarily want to go this route that I'm working on, which is fine, you're going to have a hard time passing up a standard 270 Winchester. And if you want to go further than 600 yards, let me turn some back around. Yeah, if you want to go past 600 yards, definitely a 6.8 Western or even a 270 WSM. Don't sleep on that one, man. I'm going to tell you right now, the 270 WSM with that bullet would be an absolute game changer. If you can push that thing 3,150 to 3,200 feet per second, that's going to be an absolute crazy cartridge. So, yeah, there's a potential. I'm mostly looking to do this in the aspects of more of affordable, and also being able to have the extra rounds, like anything in the 30-06 family. This includes the 280 Ackley, 280 Remington, 25-06, so on and so forth. The advantage they have over Magnums or any of the short Magnums is extra case capacity. So when I say case capacity, I'm not talking about powder. I'm talking about capacity inside the rifle to hold the extra round or two. And quite often, because of how fat those short Magnums are, it can be literally two more cartridges. Like my Bergara B14 Ridge holds a 5+1. If you try to do that with a 7 rem mag or a 300 Win mag, you're looking at a 4+1. If you're talking like the short magnums where they're really fat, or you're talking about the nozzlers, where your body width is like 0.55, 0.56, you're looking at a 3+1. So, yeah, I'm trying to balance it all out. But again, I'm going to tell you right now, for the guys who haven't had a chance to really look properly into 270 Winchester, you should give it a consideration. Because I'm not knocking the 6.5s or the PRCs or anything, but you know what? There's a lot better performance out of these 270s than most people give them credit. And yeah, you should really look into this. And then not to mention, typically they throw heavier bullets than your 6.5 Creedmoor and 6.5 PRC. So yeah, there's a really good potential here. If you're not trying to get into the 7mm or the 30 cals, then 27 cal is actually a really good option for you, because you can ethically hunt with them out to longer range. And I think it's a hot loaded 270 with the right bullet, honestly, is still gonna do better in my opinion than a 6.5 Creedmoor, because Creedmoor, honestly, I don't care what anyone has to say, is a slow cartridge. It just is. So that's what I have for tonight. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and we'll talk to you again.